Hello, I'm John Mann, Member of Parliament. Welcome to Kids Question Time, live from Bassetlaw. This week we have St Augustine's School Council asking the real questions that the country wants answers to.
Would you ever consider joining a different party?
Joining a different party? Definitely not. Definitely, you've got to be consistent.
Who seeks help for you?
Who seeks help from me? Lots of people. You might know some of them. People in Worksop and people across the area. And they come and seek help. All sorts of things. Everything you could possibly imagine. Yes, I've met the Queen. I met the Queen at Buckingham Palace. She's very polite. And she's quite small, smaller than you think, because she doesn't always wear her crown.
The main priority in your job?
The main priority is to make sure that all of you get a really good start in life. So making sure schools are good, lots of homework, well, little bits of homework, but jobs, nice places to go, things to do, good doctors and hospitals, everyone's safe. So that's the big things we're trying to do.
What's the best part of your job?
You mean other than meeting you? Or going down to London? Sometimes listening to Big Ben. You know, that's that big clock in Parliament. Sometimes when it's really sunny and you've been really lazy in Parliament, people are very lazy in Parliament, you can just sit out there in the sun. There's a secret roof. You can go up and listen to Big Ben. That's really good.
The responsibility of an MP too much?
Oh yes, sometimes. Like when people come, they come with the problems and they want you to sort them. But everyone wants it now. Sometimes it's really difficult. Like when you get really, really annoyed because everyone else isn't doing what they should be doing. Shall I give you an example? So, I'm trying to build a new sports stadium in Worksop. And I just want to go do it tomorrow. But it takes a really long time. You've got to find the land. You've got to persuade people. You've got to get the money. And that gets really annoying. Because I just want to do everything straight away. I bet you do, don't you?
Yeah.
How would you change local
By
government?
giving people in this area more of the money and more of the power and taking it away from London so that the decisions are made not just by the Prime Minister but by people, the councillors, locally in our town hall. So that's what I would do.
I think children aged 11 should be put through the stresses of a SATs test.
You put me on the spot now. Yes, I think having some tests is good, but I think that we pay too much attention to the results. So I think you having tests, I think that's good, because then you know how well you're doing and your teacher does, your parents do, but I think we put too much emphasis on the results. So I think schools spend too much time just thinking about the SATs results instead of thinking about you and all the skills that you've got. So I would change it a little bit.
What is the best thing about Bassetlaw in your opinion?
What is your role as an MP?
My role as an MP? Well, I've got to go to Parliament and vote. If I don't do that, you'd probably be a bit unhappy with me, I guess, because I've got to vote on your behalf. Hopefully, the way you want me to. I've got to listen to what people say, and I've got to use my position to try and change things and improve things. That might be for you, or your family, or your school, or for the town. The best thing is all the trees. We've got loads of trees in Sherwood Forest, Clumber Park, and it makes the place very beautiful. Therefore, really nice people like to live here and stay here. So because it's a beautiful area, there's lots of beautiful people. So that's the best thing. So I don't want all those trees chopping down. In fact, I'd like to plant some new ones so we can keep the forest going, because I think that's the best thing about our area.
How do you help the people in our
Trying to
area?
sort their problems out if they come to me with problems, but also trying to get better things. So if there's good things, I want more good things in this area, or if there's bad things, I want to stop them happening. So like good things, more money for your school. That would be a good thing. Better things in the school. Bad things, oh, burglars, we don't want them. Trying to make sure we've got police there for stopping the government, cutting all the good things, keeping the hospital open.
Why did you choose to represent the Labour Party?
Because it's the best party. Because it believes in everyone having an equal chance. Everyone. Not just people who are rich, and having a really good health service. Free for everyone. So it means everyone in this area should have the same chance, same opportunities as everyone else anywhere in the world. So that's why.
Do you enjoy your job?
I love it. I love it. I come and meet you, all you important people, from St Augustine's School Council. Then I get on a train to London and go and discuss things in Parliament. It's great. Guess where I'm going on Thursday? Germany. Flying on an aeroplane to Germany. I'm going to their Parliament, which isn't as posh as ours. And their Prime Minister, she's a lady, Chancellor Angela Merkel, and I'm speaking at a conference with her. So it gets very different. Guess where I was last week? I was hanging out at the back of a helicopter with the RAF. It was freezing cold. A big helicopter, Chinook helicopter. That's the helicopters where they put lots of people in. They're very big. Lots of people can get in them. And they open up the back. And I was where, when they're fighting in the wars, I was where the person who's got the machine gun hanging out the helicopter was. And it's pretty cold hanging out of a helicopter, but really interesting. You get to see a good view looking down, and there's just sky all the way to the floor. Bit scary at the beginning. You've got to get used to it. So you get to do lots of I think you should be MPs. You get to do lots of interesting things. Meet the Queen one day, go in a helicopter with the RAF another day, go to Germany, meet your school council, deal with people's problems, try and build a new football stadium. You do lots of different things.
Do you think school funding's unfair?
Yes, it is unfair because some schools get more money than others and our schools don't get as much. So I think giving more money and spreading it more fairly would be a good idea. So I'm going to vote in favour of that.
Have you ever worked with David Cameron on something?
Yes, I have, yeah. Recently I've worked with David Cameron to try and ensure that we get linked to Sheffield so that we can get more money for buses and trains to Sheffield and to Doncaster and to Rotherham. So yes, I've worked with David Cameron very recently.
What do you think makes a good MP?
What makes a good MP? Most excuse me. I think being able to listen is the most important thing. MPs do loads and loads of talking, and that's what you're meant to do as an MP. But I think far more important is listening. So I think you've got to listen to what people have to say and listen to their arguments. So I think learning to listen well, if you want to be an MP, is the most important skill of everything.
Do you want to be Prime Minister or leader of the Labour Party?
Of course. I think I'll be a very good Prime Minister. I'd make really good decisions. But I don't think I'll be doing that because I'm too noisy. I say too many things. You've got to be a bit more polite to be Prime Minister.
Do you mainly work in Worksop or London?
About half and half. So at the weekends, I live here, so I work here. And on Fridays I work here, and sometimes on Mondays. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, nearly always in London. So about half the time in London and about half the time here. And some of the time going to other countries.
If you could change one thing in Bassetlaw right now, what would it be and why?
One thing right now, I think, well, definitely I'd get a new sports stadium, athletics track and football stadium. That's a small thing. I think something bigger than that, it would be to improve the hospital so that there's more things at the hospital, particularly for people with dementia, because it's difficult for them to live anywhere. And I think that's the big change I would make. That's what I'm arguing for.
Your own speeches.
Oh yes, I do. Well, I've got people like Luke who work for me, but I don't let them write my speeches because they would be terrible. So I write my own speeches, and sometimes I do it, in fact most times without any notes. I think what I'm going to say, then I say it. Now that's, you need to practice a lot to do that. That's quite difficult.
Ever done a speech in Parliament?
I've done hundreds of speeches in Parliament. Some of them you can see on YouTube. Obviously, they're either the really good ones or the really terrible ones. Because if they're really good, I'll put them on YouTube. If they're really terrible, someone else will put them on YouTube. But there's some there. I think the ones I put on. So, yeah. And sometimes it's a minute. Sometimes it's 30 minutes. This week, I will be speaking in Parliament for about 15 minutes on the Pilgrim Fathers, who founded the modern America and come from our area. Did you know that? So, they were having an argument in the church, and they didn't like what was happening, and they got persecuted. People were horrible to them. So they got on a boat from Bawtry and they went to Southampton. And then they went on a boat to America, but it broke down very quickly. So they stopped in Plymouth, got another boat, went to America, and the first place they came to, they stopped and landed, and they built homes. They chopped down trees, built wooden homes, and most of them died from all the diseases that they got, like malaria. But some lived, and that's most of the people in America now. Some very famous people are their ancestors. So some actors, Clint Eastwood, I don't know if you've heard of him. He did lots of cowboy type films. He's very famous. And Richard Gere, he still does films and gets Oscars. Well, their family came from Bassetlaw. And Mr. Rockefeller, he's one of the richest men in the world. He's a billionaire. Well, his family came from Bassetlaw. They all went in a boat to America with virtually nothing. So, that was 400 years ago nearly. So we're going to have big celebrations and try and get lots of Americans to come here.
Highlight of your job so far?
The highlight of my job? Well, at winning elections, that's a highlight. That's good. But once I had famous Brazilian footballers and they came here. And that was really good because everyone got very excited. But I think, best of all, when we had a really big campaign and kept the hospital open. And everyone told me, oh, you can't, you won't win that. And we did. Kept our hospital open. That was really good.
I'm 7 and I'll be sitting my SATs test in June. Do you think this is fair?
To sit SATs test when you're 7. Well, it is if people pay too much attention to the results. But I think it's good to start testing yourself. So I think practicing tests, because when you go to secondary school, it's important you pass your exams. Because whatever you do, if you don't get good exam results, it will be harder to do it. You have more choices. So whatever you want to do with your lives, I think doing your best at school and getting your best exam results is going to help. So they are horrible. They are boring sometimes, but they're good for you, is my view.
To be an MP.
Oh yeah. How old are you?
10.
Oh, since the age of about 10. When I was 10, there was a general election, and the Prime Minister was called Harold Wilson. And so I went and put out leaflets for him through letterboxes. And I thought, I'll be an MP. That'd be great. And it is. So if you're 10, you could be thinking of that. You've got to plan ahead. I didn't become an MP till I was 41. So you have to do something in the middle. Or lots of things in the middle. But there's young MPs as well, really young, some. One's only, I don't know, about 20, something like that, one of them. So that won't be too long to wait. But you've got to have something to say, and you've got to learn to listen. You've got to be confident. You've got to say what you think. Be prepared to argue with people. Politely.
Biggest political challenges in basketball?
The schools are a big challenge. Making sure that the schools do really well, that's a really big challenge. Getting better jobs. More interesting jobs that pay more money as well. Because we don't have enough variety of jobs here. So it'd be good to have lots of different types of jobs. And that would help the area. So we've got to persuade people to come and spend money creating new jobs here. That's a really top priority.
What do you do on an average day in London?
An average day in London. So, shall I give an example for tomorrow? I'll try and think tomorrow. So tomorrow I'll get up really early, about 6 o'clock. Go swimming. Do you know why I have to go swimming? Well, I don't have to. Do you know why I choose to go swimming? Well, it's good for you. And I'm climbing a very, very, very big mountain this summer called Mount Kilimanjaro. It's one of the biggest mountains in the world. So I've got to get fit and healthy. Otherwise I won't get to the top carrying my bag. So, go swimming. Then have breakfast in Parliament. What time do you have breakfast? Before school? Well, about the same time I'll be having my porridge, which is what I have for breakfast, and a cup of coffee. Then, first big meeting, 9 o'clock, live on the TV with the Governor of the Bank of England. He's very important. He's responsible for all the money in the country and lots more. So I'm asking him questions about the European Union for 2 hours, not just me. And it's all live on television, and all the press will be there, the newspapers. And then I'll have to do some work making phone calls. Lots of phone calls tomorrow. Then I have to check my emails, because there might be important emails, like from your school or from wherever. And then more meetings, lots more meetings, and votes in Parliament. There'll be some votes tomorrow. I might even get up and speak tomorrow in Parliament. So I'll be voting, and then I will finish at about 8 o'clock tomorrow. Then I'm free. 8 at night. So that's what tomorrow's like, and that's a normal day. Meeting people, discussing things, debating in Parliament, making phone calls, writing letters. Does it sound boring? Yeah, can be. Sometimes it's really interesting. Depends who you're meeting. But that's a normal day in Parliament. Some of it's really boring. Really, really, really boring.
You have before you were an MP?
I was helping to run a business, and we were driving lots of equipment abroad in big lorries, and then setting up that equipment for conferences and meetings, microphones and all the things you'd have at a big conference, and then running the conference for all sorts of companies, famous companies. But some of the meetings were really interesting and some were really boring. So now to drive a lorry.
Stop right now.
There's lots of improvements we could make. So the canal is horrible in Worksop. It could be really nice. It could be one of the nicest bits, and it would be great to be able to change that and make it really nice so people want to go there, where it's a bit horrible at the moment. And we've got a cinema, but we could do with more things in the town centre, I think. And it'd be nice to have some more restaurants, some more cafes, and just more things to do, more sporting things to do. So that's what I'd like to see. Some new houses, and brighten the place up a bit more. That's what would you like to do with it?
I'd like more shops and make it a better place.
More shops like what, like Meadowhall?
Yeah, something like that.
So you can go spend loads of money?
Yeah.
Well, it would be good to have more shops, but everyone likes to go shopping in Meadowhall. Well, I don't. I hate it. Do you like it?
Yeah.
Well, there you are, you see. And do you like it because there's lots of shops there?
Yeah.
So if all the shops go to Meadowhall, they're not going to come here, are they? Because you're going to spend your money in Meadowhall. So that's one of the issues we have to try and sort out. Because everyone wants lots of really good shops, but they don't want to travel all over to get to them. They like them together. But if what's your favourite shop?
Primark.
So Primark. Well, if Primark goes in Meadowhall, then they might not want to be in Worksop. Or they might not have enough money to have two shops. So that's one of the problems. They build the shops where people spend the money. So it would be good to have more in Worksop, but that's the problem. What kind of shops would you like to see?
Smiggles.
Which one?
Smiggles.
And what does that do?
It's like it's got like money boxes that have got locks in them and rubbers that know like pen, like art stuff and stuff.
That would be good to have a shop like that. That might be. Perhaps you should set one up at some stage, because I think that would probably do quite well here. You should be thinking about that's a good idea. Any more ideas? Shops you'd like to see? Shops you'd go in? Spend all your money? Thank you for watching the latest edition of Kids Question Time. The questions that the country wants answers to.